Good morning, everyone. Every morning in our daily prayers, we make a series of blessings, thanking God. We thank God for our eyesight. We thank God for standing erect. And then we have a blessing. Blessed are you, God, King of the universe, Sha'asa li sarki, who provided for me all of my needs. And it's interesting that we don't say that God provides all the needs of mankind. We personalize it and say, provided for me all of my needs, which is very unique, because all the other blessings, we don't say God gave me my eyesight, we just say God provides eyesight. God allows man to stand erect. But only with Shasa li sarki, we say God has provided me with all of my needs. And one interpretation for this is because, yes, when it comes to yourself, you should be satisfied and content and grateful for everything you have and feel that whatever God has given you is enough. But when it comes to others, you shouldn't take that attitude. If someone needs help, you shouldn't say, well, God gave you all your needs. No, for others, you should advocate for them, you should help them, you should try to give them even more than they feel they need. Indeed, it says in Pirkei Avot, who is a rich man? One who is happy with his lot. Being satisfied and content is the secret to being a wealthy person, because wealth means that you have what you need, you're not lacking anything. And therefore, wealth or poverty is not just a number, but it's actually a mindset of contentment and satisfaction. In this week's Parsha, when Jacob brings gifts to his brother Esav says, I don't need the gifts, I have plenty. Yeshli Rav. And Jacob responds and says, please take my gifts, because Yeshli Kol, I have everything. Meaning to say, I have everything I need. I don't need these material things because I already have everything. Whatever I have in life that God has provided me with, that is everything I need. Not any more than that. But when it says in Ethics of Our Fathers, who is a rich person, one who's happy with their lot, doesn't just mean material lot, but also means your inner lot, your lot of your talents, your capabilities, your skills, your inner dimension of qualities that God provided you. Sometimes people feel, I'm not good enough, I'm inadequate, I'm not sufficient. And what the teaching is, to be wealthy, you have to know that whatever you need in life to fulfill your purpose, your mission, your destiny in life, God has implanted within you. You have everything you need within your lot, within your allotted abilities that God has given you. And therefore, know that you have within you the strength and the capacity to achieve whatever your goals in life are. There's a famous story about this rabbi. His name is Rabbi Tzvi Hirsch Weinrib. His name is Rabbi Dr. Tzvi Hirsch Weinrib, and he tells a story that when he was in his 20s, newly married man, he would often go to 770 Eastern Parkway to listen to the talks of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, but always from a distance. And then when he got married, he went off to the University of Maryland to study psychology. And he was also a Torah scholar, so he would give classes in the local community in the synagogue. Well, he was now a man in his 30s, 10 years later. He graduated with his degree as a doctor. And he couldn't decide, should I go into the rabbinate? Should I go into psychology? He had a lot of questions. Also questions, should he stay in Maryland? Should he move somewhere else? He also had philosophical questions about faith and God. And he was thinking what to do. And he decided, you know what, I used to go to the talks of the Rebbe in Brooklyn. Let me see if I could get an audience, a meeting with the Rebbe to discuss these matters. He calls 770 Eastern Parkway. And the Rebbe's secretary, Rabbi Chadakov, picks up the phone. And he says, I'd like to see if I could arrange a meeting with the Rebbe. And he hears the Rebbe's voice in the background of the room saying, who's calling? In Yiddish. And Rabbi Chadakov says to Rabbi Weinrib, the Rebbe wants to know who's calling. And so he didn't want to say his name. He was a little embarrassed. And he said, a Jew from Maryland, a Yid from Maryland. And then he hears the Rebbe in the background say in Yiddish, Zog him, tell him that there's a Jew in Maryland by the name of Weinrib. And if he has questions, he should go discuss it with Weinrib. He couldn't believe his ears, because he's like, how did the Rebbe know I'm calling? So he tells Rabbi Chadakov, I am Tzvi Hirsch Weinrib. I'm Weinrib. And Rabbi Chadakov repeats it to the Rebbe, and then he hears the Rebbe in the background say to Rabbi Chadakov, tell him that if that's the case, he should know that sometimes you have to speak to yourself. And he said he never got that audience with the Rebbe, but he sat down with himself with the Rebbe's encouragement, and he said, okay, what direction should I take? And sure enough, he chose to become a rabbi, a very renowned rabbi in Maryland. He went on to run the Orthodox Union. And today he's retired, but he's renowned. He gives classes and lectures all over the world. And what the Rebbe was telling him is that sometimes we fail to recognize, or we underestimate the answers that we have within ourselves, the ability within ourselves to chart our course, to make decisions, to not be indecisive, but to recognize that God gave me the ability to become what I want to or need to be. And don't always feel that you're not adequate or sufficient to make these not only decisions but moves and steps in your life. Know that God gave you all the strength and all the abilities and skills already for you to achieve your greatest aspirations and dreams. Have a wonderful day.